You had told me, I just couldn't remember.
I
Yes.
believe, if I remember correctly, Hillary worked on the 49ers Hall of Fame or their stadium mall.
I worked on the 49ers Hall of Fame in their pro shops, and the Patriots, the hall at Patriot Place, and the Little League Museum in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Nice, that's wicked cool.
Cool, cool.
So it's just after 7, and it looks like we have about everybody here. So I'm ready to get started if everybody else is. Thank you all for joining. My name is Andrew McNichol. I'm staff planner for Town Hall. We're here to meet for the Zoning Board of Appeals, just to discuss a little bit about how the meeting will be run over Zoom. I'm sure as many of you might know by now, Zoom has what they call a raise hand feature. And this is located under the Participants tab. Down on the bottom, you should find it. Once you click Participants, you should see a button that says Raise Hand. We ask that you use this if you have a comment to provide on a given application, and then we can call you out directly to get your comment. We ask that you avoid the chat feature if at all possible, and also to mute yourself if you don't have a comment or it's not for your application. We're joined tonight with Building Inspector Glenn Redmond, who just logged on. We also have Chair Bob Redfern, Nick Bernice, Hillary Mateve, and Jamie Mon with us for the Zoning Board of Appeals. With that, I will give it to Bob to start our agenda off. Your mic working, Bob? Can't hear you. Uh-oh. He's unmuted. Sorry, everybody. Please bear with us. Bob, we can't seem to hear you. I'm not sure what's going on. I can see you're talking. I just can't hear your voice. While Bob is working on his microphone, I will add that if you are having any issues, my email is open, the chat is open, and I am available if anybody is having any technical difficulties or would like to provide comment through email or so forth. I am available. So hopefully Bob can get his microphone working and get started. Nick, as Bob gets ready, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I can kick it off. I don't have the usual blurb that we start this with. But I can let the audience know this is being recorded by RCTV. It will be available online. We have 3 cases this evening. Everyone welcome to Wednesday, August 5th, 2020, 7 p.m. virtual Reading Board of Appeals meeting. I believe we're going to take the agenda in order. Is that correct, Andrew?
Yes, you got it.
All right, so the first case we have this evening is case number 2003, 19 Auburn Street. Andrew, do we need to let the crowd give their name and address if they wish to speak tonight?
Yes, please. If it is your first time speaking, please do announce your name and address for the attendance records. Thank you, Nick.
So if anyone is going to speak tonight, before they have anything to say, please do that for Andrew. So the first case, Reading Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a continuance of a public hearing, the remote and online measures, today at 7 p.m. on the application of Jeffrey and Kristen Auburn pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A, Section 10 for a variance under the Reading Zoning Bylaws, Section 4.52 and 7.4, to construct a new farmer's porch with a non-conforming front yard setback on the property located at 19 Auburn Street in Reading, Massachusetts. Andrew, is there anything you want to add to this case before we start?
I will add that the applicant this week provided a new document of a fee estimate for their application, but I'm going to pass it off to Jeff and Kristen Auburn to kind of remind the board of their application and what it is they're looking for.
Great.
Hi, how is everybody? I hope everyone's safe. Since we last met with you, there are 2 questions that you wanted us to answer, the first 2 questions. And we did go back. We had the topography done, or someone look at the topography, and I don't remember.
So basically the topography of our front yard is, if you're looking at the house from left to right, it slopes about 1 foot. As you approach the dwelling, about 4 feet away is where the grass or lawn levels off. So from 4 feet into the houses, it levels off. The rest of the yard slopes 1 foot.
And then the second question was, is it a hardship that we're bringing? And we went ahead and we got a quote for a French drain because of the water that we get into the basement. And that's the document that Andrew put up there, I think. Andrew, did you put it up there for people?
Yep.
So we got a quote for a French drain to be put in where the house under the stairs is where we get water. So the porch, my husband estimated, was
About 9,500.
9,500. And this French drain is going to cost us about 18,000. So we were hoping, well, 19,000. We were hoping that it could be relieved by the front porch, which we're hoping would alleviate the water in the basement while also putting a safer place into the house from the front.
Thank you, guys. And to remind the board, this is an application for a variance on the front porch for a front setback. Nick, we can start with you if you have any comments.
So I appreciate that you guys went back and got an estimate of what it would cost to do that. I want to hear from the rest of the board first, if anyone has anything they want to add or any questions for the applicant. I guess, Hillary, do you want to start it off? Do you have any questions for the applicant or any comments on this?
I'm taking a look at it on the Google Earth right now. And I think I understand what I'm looking back at your application, and I don't understand the 1 foot slope. How does that slope 1 foot from where to where?
So across, basically from one edge, from the left edge of the house, going across to the right edge of the house, if you're looking at the house, it's roughly about a 1 foot slope, going across the front of the yard. Well, Auburn Street is like a slight hill.
Mhm.
So our front yard kind of carries the way that the street goes. But if you're walking from the street to the front of the house, when you get to about 4 feet, that's where it levels off. And we have some flower beds there that kind of leveled that off for us. So.
Okay. And let me look at your application one more time. I remember correctly, you want to add a farmer's porch with stairs off the side, or is that out the front?
Nope, out the front.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. James, do you have anything to add or questions?
I
for the
did have
applicant?
a point. I know, I just wanted to make a statement. Last time at our meeting, the building inspector asked us about checking with our neighbors what their setback was, and we could take, if one was, say, 20 feet and one was only 8 feet, you could take the difference of the two and divide it. We did do that, and unfortunately, that didn't help us. We're all, both of our neighbors on the left and right are basically the same 20 to 23 feet from the setback.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually the question I was going to ask, because I remember that came up last time. So that drawing that Andrew just showed us did not have the front steps. It just had the porch. So those steps.
The drawing that Andrew just had up there was the plot plan done by an engineer in Woburn by the name of Farrell. So he was just, I think because of the plot plan, I don't think they have to show steps. I'm not positive. I told him what we were going was a 6 foot by 34 front porch, and that's where he drew the lines off. If the stairs are an issue, going forward, I would even take a foot away from the front porch to make it 5 so that the stairs would come into play as well.
But the stairs right now, we talked about before, we have those steps leading down and there's railroad ties at the bottom. The porch, the stairs will not come out any further than what's there.
You're saying the stairs will not come out any closer to the road than where the stairs are now?
Yes.
But won't the stairs lead onto the porch?
Yes, so if you look at the house right now, there are steps that come down, and the final step, it goes into the house. So the stairs to the porch will also go up to the house. And the new stairs will be exactly where the old stairs are. It will just lead up to the porch.
I guess I'm having trouble visualizing that. I mean, won't you have to come up to the stairs and then step onto the porch?
Yes, yes, yes.
Right. So I think what she's saying is what we have in the front of the house, the distance that it goes from the house out that we already have, we're not looking to go any further than when we purchased the house 12 years ago, we're not looking to go any further than what was already here. So where those stairs end is exactly where the new porch with the stairs would end as well.
So then you're saying the stairs will be 15 feet from the road. How far from the road will the porch be?
To be honest with you, I didn't believe that. I understand that the stairs, the porch comes out 6 feet is what we're asking for. I was not aware that the stairs, because you need to get access from the ground to the porch or to the porch to the ground, that the stairs came into effect. And I might be wrong.
I think Glenn told us last time that is correct.
I don't think Glenn was at our meeting last time.
I think it was Mark.
And Mark was
Oh,
at
you're
our
right.
meeting.
Was it Mark?
It was
Yes.
Mark, but
Yeah,
I believe
and I don't think the stairs came, I don't think Mark said anything to about the stairs.
Okay, so what you're saying, you're building this porch for the hardship for the water going into the basement.
Correct. And, well, also, so it's a place for us to sit out on nights and enjoy our neighbors. And I think it'll, have a little curb appeal to the house and add character to the neighborhood.
The stairs have to be replaced no matter what. So
Right,
we're
I
trying
remember
to
that.
kill two with one stone as to putting the front porch on, hoping that that will alleviate the water problem and also give us access to the house with something nice to look at and utilize.
I guess what I'm struggling with is that it's already non-conforming because the setback is 20 feet, correct, Andrew?
Correct.
Yep.
And currently you're less than 20 feet, right?
Right now I'm at 22, 21.3.
Oh, so you are in conformance right now.
I do have a little bit from the property line to the house. That's why we're just asking for the additional 4 feet or 4.5 feet to put on the rest of the porch.
I guess I'm what I'm struggling with is that 20-foot setback was established for a reason. And so now we've cut into that. I understand the hazard from the water,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, I'd like to hear what Nick or other members or Glenn might have to say.
Yeah,
Glenn
Glenn.
does have his hand raised if we want to jump to him real quick. Go ahead, Glenn.
All right. All right, so the proposal is for the porch to be 15.9 feet from the setback.
Correct.
So a fact is that stairs are exempt from setbacks.
Okay.
So that means the rise and run of the stairs are exempt. They can encroach into the setback. If there's a platform there at the top of the stairs, that is part of the structure, and that does count towards the setback. So,
Okay.
So the surveyor should have shown the stairs on the front of the house, but they are exempt. So as long as there's no platform beyond the proposed porch, it's not an issue for setback.
No,
Okay.
that's correct.
So can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah.
So there's stairs and then they have a landing. That part is part of the setback or not part of the setback?
Well, the question is there a landing going out beyond the proposed porch?
No. The landing is the landing will be the porch,
Okay.
in which we're proposing.
That's fine. But there is a code there is a code that the door cannot swing out over the steps. So as long as your door to enter the porch swings in, there's no problem building code wise.
Okay.
But Glenn, just so we're on the same page, this 15.9 feet would still require a variance, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we require variance for the proposed porch, right? The proposed porch does not show a landing going beyond that. If the landing was going beyond the porch, then the variance would have to be included for that landing. So if it's stairs alone, the stairs are exempt from setback requirements.
All right, thank you, Glenn. Is there anything else you want to add about this application?
No, it's fine. Obviously, we're here because it doesn't meet the setback requirements.
Okay.
I have no reason why I would be against the issuance of the variance, that's up to the board. So,
All right,
Glenn, if I could, just another question. If there is a roof over the stairs,
that
Does
wouldn't be
that-
allowed.
that would be allowed and wouldn't require variance. So in theory, they could build a roof over the stairs and address at least part of the water problem.
Um,
No, the roof wouldn't come
The
over
roof-
the stairs.
a roof over the stairs would have to comply with this 20-foot setback.
Oh, the roof would have to comply.
Yes.
It's just
The only
uncovered
thing exempt,
stairs.
the only thing exempt is the actual stair, rise and run, not platforms, not roof coverings, not walls around the platform. So,
Okay, so then they would still need a variance if they replace those stairs and put a roof over it to try and address the water problem. They'd still require a
Yes.
variance. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
yes.
All right, great. It seems like Bob has still experienced technical difficulties. So while we wait for Bob, I want to go over the variance criteria. As we're all aware, variance is a pretty high bar. It has to meet not one, two, but all four criterias to pass. So I'm going to go over the first criteria. Describing the soil conditions, shape, or topography that's unique to the property. And in the applicant's submittal, they talk about the slope of the property causing a detrimental effect of having water infiltration into their home. But I'll also note that the variance for this farmer porch does not only just extend a non-conformity that potentially exists. In this case, it doesn't exist, but it's really encroaching further into the setbacks. So moving on to the second criteria about the substantial hardship. I think the applicant, gave some quotes about, the water being an issue and how this farmer's porch would address it. I'm not so certain that, and maybe the applicant can speak more to this, that a farmer's porch enclosed with a door and everything is the most economical solution to water infiltration. It almost seems incidental that the farmer's porch would solve the water issue, but I'm not sure that building a farmer's porch, it's almost like a self-imposed hardship. You're getting an addition that you want, but it's also alleviating a problem that you're trying to get rid of too. I'm also struggling with the fourth criteria, how this wouldn't substantially degrade from the zoning law. Well, mainly because all your neighbors have to conform to this. The Reading, let's see here. Looks like Bob is trying to get in here. So I'd like to hear from James and Hillary specifically about the criteria and if you have any issues with 1, 2, or any of them. James, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Just a question to the applicants. Have you spoken with your neighbors about this? Have you gotten any feedback from your neighbors?
Yes.
Yes, they're all on board. They think it would be a great, it would give the house more character. It would build, obviously putting a farmer's porch on is not going to solve, we can do anything. What we're looking for is the porch with the roof on it would the rain would flow off of it and we would place the stairs. So yes, we're trying to kill two birds with one stone, but all of our neighbors are on board with having us put it up. No one has any issues. They all think it's a great idea.
So are you going to have gutters on this farmer porch roof?
Yes.
And where will the drain go?
Actually, I was thinking about getting water barrels so I could use it for my flower beds.
But if they overflow, I mean, or do you have some way to retain the water
Yeah,
coming
so-
off that roof so it doesn't
Yeah, right
go-
now, the gutters that we have on the house now, they run underground and probably go about, 12 feet away from the house. But what's happening is, because there's no porch on the house, the water is just sitting in the flower beds, and getting behind the steps that we have is just coming straight down, and then ended up, if we have heavy rain, like yesterday for a long period of time, we get water in the basement, which we've had to rip up rugs. My next solution would, if I don't get the front porch, is the French drain, which
Well,
is a
I
lot
guess
more money than I have.
if a primary purpose is to deal with that water damage, then it would seem to me that you would need to be sure that the drainage system from the new farmer's porch roof went into the gutters and then into a dry well or some way so it didn't come back into the porch. I would want some assurance that that's going to happen if we're approving this for a water damage issue.
Well, I would think by taking, rainwater away by at least 6 feet, and also when you get to that 6 feet spot away from the house, the water, like we said, the yard has a 1 foot slope right to left. That water naturally is going to go away from the house. So now we're in 6 feet further away from the house. I can't foresee the future that, if I put this on, that it's 100% is going to solve the issue. But, commonly looking at it, I think by taking it away by 6 feet and adding gutters to it would definitely improve the situation.
So does your front yard slope now toward the street or to the east?
To the east. That's the east. I'm sorry, to the west.
Sorry.
Okay, so the water probably will not run into the street. It'll probably just run laterally to your neighbor
Correct.
on that side.
Exactly. Right.
Okay,
Just want to try to take this off.
I'm still would like to hear what others have to say. I'm of two minds on this.
Yes, I'd like to try to check back in with Bob. Bob, is your mic working now? Doesn't seem like it.
A roof on it, so they're not considered a structure.
And is that true, Glenn, that the landing is not considered a structure here? There is a landing right here.
I don't know what landing we're talking. The landing is a structure. The stairs are a structure, but stairs are exempt from setback requirements.
But the landing is not.
The landing is not.
So
Let's see. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, I'm sorry about my issues here with the audio. The comments I had on this is I sat on this case the first time, and I still have an issue with it not meeting by putting the farmer's porch on, which I don't believe is a necessity. And that's the key word. I don't believe it's a necessity. And it would create a non-conforming building that is now conforming. So I would oppose this issue, this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Please stay on the line and hold tight. If you have anything, just let me know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Bob, for that. Glad to have you on. I kind of tend to agree with Bob, particularly on, criteria 1. I mean, this is a variance. If this was a special permit, typically, we're not, even with a special permit, typically encroaching further into a setback. We're usually existing a non-conformity and extending not going further into the setback. But with this one, I think it does, go further than into the setback than we typically would allow. And also with the hardship and the necessity, as Bob said, if the main goal is for like water, helping with the water, and I actually just want to know, I have no issue personally with putting a farmer's porch. But when we look at it in the eyes of does it comply with the zoning regulations, that's what we're here to decide. I can't, say that this application meets all 4 of the criteria as well.
Can I ask which one? So you think the topography is the one that it's not meeting?
No, I think the substantial hardship is one I have. 4, does it degrade from the zoning? I mean, the zoning book is, basically the roadmap for what the community wants to see. And the community doesn't look at your property or anyone's property in particular. They look at it as a whole. And to meet a variance, which is the highest bar, you have to basically prove that your property is so unique and so special and so different than your neighbors, and that you have a hardship that if we don't allow this, it's going to degrade from your safety, well-being in some particular manner. And you actually put in here, we would like. I mean, wanting something and not getting it, even though your neighbors have no problem with it, I have no problem with it, it still would degrade from the zoning bylaws. And the only way to change that is to change the zoning bylaws. But we're all, as members, supposed to enforce this document, basically.
So it's not that it's a necessity. I agree with Bob. It's that in an effort to alleviate all of the issues, having to take the stairs down and getting the water in the basement, we were trying to add the character to the house to just because it would look nice. I mean, yes, that's a benefit to it, but it's not the only reason. And we just thought that, with the water, with the everything else, it would just help alleviate it. Obviously, it's not the only way. It's just we were having to redo the stairs anyway, so we were hoping that that would work as well.
Understood. Yeah, and if we do vote this down, it doesn't mean you can't do a patio or other things that isn't a physical building or structure that would encroach into the front yard setbacks.
Right. It would just not have the roof on it to alleviate the water. That's the whole thing. Was we thought the roof would get the water off. So obviously, if there's no roof, then the issue is still there with just the stairs. So.
Right.
I think we've heard from the board. Do we want to just open up to public comment real quick, Nick?
Yeah. Does anyone from the public have anything to say? Please remember just to state your name and address for the record.
No hands raised.
No hands. All right. Do any other board members have anything they would like to add?
I'd just like to comment that if I was convinced, or if there was demonstration that this farmer's porch was necessary and the only practical way to solve the water problem, I could vote for it. But I haven't seen that. I have seen water problems dealt with by changing the gutter system, by French drains, by a number of ways. And I don't know if any of those would work here, but I think it would be incumbent upon the applicant to demonstrate that none of those more standard ways to prevent water in a basement could be done before I could, in fact, vote for this. So without that proof, I think I would have to vote against it also.
Well, we got the quote for the French drain.
Right, a
Right.
French drain at $18,000. I mean, I've worked on drainage problems a lot, and there are other possibilities rather than a French drain that could be less expensive. Maybe not, but I'm not convinced of that at this point.
Thank you, James. Hillary, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would have to agree. I was trying to figure out some other thoughts on how we could make it work, but at the moment, I don't think that the documentation or the variance criteria support a variance vote.
Great. Thank you, Hillary. Can we get Bob on? Or Bob, can you give a thumbs up if you don't have anything else to add?
Yes, Andrew, are you there?
Yep. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay. Right. I agree with everybody. And I think in this particular case, a variance would be very, very hard to agree upon. And I agree with the board right now. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bob. So I believe hearing no public comment, and I think everyone from the board has had a chance and opportunity to comment. I think the applicant, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, has two options. They can take a vote tonight with 4 members, and they would need all 4 members to vote yes on this. Or they could withdraw the application without prejudice, in
That is
which
correct.
vote would not take place. The other risk of taking the vote is, I don't know, Andrew, is it 2 years you cannot bring a similar case before the board again?
Yes. So if you went forward with a vote and it was denied, you would not be able to apply again for 2 years with a similar related project. But if you withdraw without prejudice, you are free to explore all your options within the 2-year time frame.
Great, thank you, Andrew.
Obviously, what we're going to do is withdraw because you have all said that you're not on board with this, and that's fine. I just, it was just something that we thought would benefit in all ways. I understand there are codes for a reason and everything, but it really doesn't make any sense to me why we can't do something to our own property. But it is what it is, and I appreciate all of your time coming, excuse me, but I just don't agree with any of it. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I do believe we still need to vote on that request to withdraw without prejudice.
All right.
Jamie?
James,
I
you
was
have
just
something
going to
say?
move that we accept the withdrawal without prejudice for the from the applicant.
Do I have a second? Hillary seconds.
I'll second that.
Bob seconded that.
All right, Bob seconds that then. So anyone else? All right, so all in favor? Mary, yes. Bob, yes. There you go. So it's accepted to.
Thank you, Jeff and Kristen, and we will get you the posted decision as soon as we can. Thank you again for all your time and work.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so next case is case 2008 23 Temple Street. On the application of Daniel and Michelle Grappe for a special permit under section 7.0, 7.3, and 7.32 to construct a 2-story addition with a non-conforming front yard setback to an existing non-conforming dwelling on the property located at 23 Temple Street in Reading. Is Glenn still with us?
I am.
Glenn, is there anything you want to add to about this application?
I'm looking at the plot plan now. the proposed two-story addition to the right-hand side complies with the right setback, the rear setback, but not the front. But the existing dwelling is 5.1 feet, and the proposed addition is 11.6. So that does qualify for a special permit to maintain the front setback of 5.1. I have no problem with it.
All right, thank you. So, do we have the applicant with us as well?
We do, I believe. Miss Nancy Toomey, a very familiar face, is here
Excellent.
again with
Hi,
us.
everybody. Thank you. Yes, I'm the architect for the project, and Michelle and Dan are also online if there are any specific questions for them. I just will go briefly through what we're proposing to do, and hopefully this is pretty straightforward. It's a two-story house to the, or a 1.5 story as it says, low roof lines. The goal here was to add some additional living space on the first floor and additional bedrooms on the second floor. It's currently just a small 2-bedroom house. So the proper way, there's also wetlands at the back. As you can see there, they do have an application before conservation that is going through their procedures currently. But the idea here is to try and gain that extra space in the second floor, and it made most sense to add to the side. I'm not sure, Andrew, if you can go through the drawing so we can see what it looks like. Sometimes that helps a lot when you're trying.
Sorry, what was that, Nancy?
Can you go through the plans? Are they online? There we go. So you can see the existing first floor. There's a single-story kitchen and porch at the back. So the only place that there are 2 stories are at the front, where the living room and the, well, there is a bedroom on the first floor, bedroom 3. If you can go to this next drawing, Andrew.
Yep.
That shows, oh, keep going, that's the basement, one more. That's the second floor with the 2 bedrooms on the second floor and a bathroom. This is the proposed addition on the first floor, a family room to the side. And then on the second floor, basement again, and then the next one, that's going to be storage. Next one is going to be the 2 bedrooms to the right. And the most important thing is the elevation. So if you can show them the next one.
Yep.
Thank you. That's the front. So this is the proposed addition to the side. And then if we can just keep going, we can just show all the sides. Everyone's clear as to how this gets connected back in. You can see how it connects to the existing 1.5 story structure to the side. And then the rear is just a simple to the side as well to get the additional height. We are setting this back 11 feet from the front as the plot plan shows. It's conforming everywhere else. And, you know, it's a fairly straightforward special permit. We're trying very hard not to encroach towards the wetlands any more than the house is already, and certainly limiting how close we get to the street. One thing I will add, Temple Street just happens to have a lot of houses that are very close to the front. So this addition is certainly not at all different than what the rest of the houses are on Temple Street. So any questions? Happy to answer.
Great, thank you, Nancy. Can we start with Bob on this time?
I was going to say the same thing. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. I went down and took a look at the property. I don't see an issue with this. There will not be an increase to any front setback non-conformity. The side yard setback will be greater than the minimum allowed, and the addition will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, I feel, than the existing structure is there now. And I believe that the proposal appears to meet all requirements required by the bylaw, section 7.3.2 for a special permit. So in this particular case, I would support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Great, thank you. Hillary, do you want to go next?
I agree with Bob. I did go down there and take a look, and you'll be set back further from the road than the neighbors down the street. As you go down the street, different to what we talked about in the last case. Something I just want to clarify, that you're now you're making it a 5-bedroom house, correct?
That's correct, except that the first floor bedroom is really more like a den. But yes, there'll be 4 bedrooms upstairs and then a smaller bedroom on the first floor.
Okay. And still only 1.5 baths.
Yeah, it's still only 1.5 baths. Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Hillary. James, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, just a couple questions, Nancy. That I drove by also, and I agree with what my colleagues have said, but I couldn't see that porch from the street. Does that porch have a roof on it? I don't think there's any second floor over the porch, is there?
No, there's no second floor over that rear porch. It's just a single story, really screen porch, if you will, at the back. I did include pictures in your packet. I don't know if you were able to get them, and I don't know, Andrew, if you can get to them. But it does show that porch at the back. It is hard to see it when you're driving by.
Well, it looks more like a house.
It's closed. Yes, you're right. It has those windows that open up. Yeah,
they're louvered
windows. Yeah.
While Andrew's looking for that picture, so that porch would remain as is.
Oh, yes. Yeah, everything that is single story at the back, including the deck, nothing there changes. That all stays. The only thing we're proposing is what's in red on the plot plan.
Right. Okay. I as my fellow board members have said, if you had proposed the addition to come out to the existing frontage of the house, I might be concerned, but since you've set it back an additional 6 feet, I think that's in compliance with the intent of the variance. So I support that. And then the other thing I'll add, coming from my background, if you move this to the back of the house, you'd be a lot closer to the wetlands. So from that standpoint, this is a better solution. And also, as we face climate change, if you move toward the back of the house, you would eventually be in the rising floodplain. So I like to see where it is now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, James. Just going to echo one of what they just said. The reason we got this application is because we have an existing non-conformity, and whenever the applicant tries to extend, alter, structurally change, or in this case, add the addition, goes before the ZBA, and we make a determination that it's not any more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure. It seems to meet all the other standards of the zoning bylaws as far as the setbacks. It's within the setbacks, and it's also within the lot coverage that's allowed. So if my only, thing is to decide if this is detrimental to the neighborhood, I would say no. I don't have any problems with this application. So I'm going to open it up to the public now. Is there anyone from the public that has something to say? Please raise your hand.
Seeing none.
Great. So hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Hillary, do you want to give it a shot?
So are we moving to vote on this or to approve this application? I move to approve the application. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yeah, just show.
We just want to add reference to the case number 20.
Case number 20-823 Temple Street.
And the plans submitted by.
Plans submitted by, where do I find
Sullivan Engineering Group.
Sullivan Engineering Group.
Dated 6/30.
Hang on, where do I see that on the plot plan?
Yep, on the plot
Okay.
plan, that's the plot
So-
plan.
Prepared by Sullivan Engineering Group on June 30th, 2020.
And also
Hi. John, hang on, I gotta zoom in. I can't read it. John Sullivan III, professional engineer.
And if we can also reference the Toomey Design architectural plans dated
And
6/30/20.
9 drawings prepared by Toomey Design dated June 30th, 2020.
Excellent. We have a second?
I second the motion.
Andrew?
Yes, Bob? Go ahead.
Yes, it is. And Andrew, typically we have some conditions on these additions or anything like that. If you want, I'll go through them, or do you have those conditions there that we have?
Can you please go through them, Bob?
I sure can. Number 1 condition, petitioner shall submit to the building inspector a certified plot plan of the proposed construction and a proposed foundation plan prior to the issuance of a foundation permit for the work.
I found it.
Condition number 2, the petitioner shall submit to the building inspector final construction plans for the proposed structure, along with the as-built foundation plan for that structure prior to the issuance of a building permit. And condition number 3, the petitioner shall submit to the building inspector as-built plans of the finished structure prior to the issuance of any occupancy permit.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay?
Thank you. I just found those.
I think that should take care of it, as long as we reference the plot plan and then also the architectural plans, which Hillary did.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, for that. All right. If we can roll call vote. Jamie?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Hillary?
I agree.
Bob? Bob, yay or nay?
Yes, I'm here.
Your vote on the application, yay or nay?
Yes, yay.
Okay.
Great.
So thank you, Nancy, and we will get you the
Thank you.
staff plans
Thank
in
you
this-
very much. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Of course, thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank
We're all
you.
learning.
Okay.
Okay.
So the last case this evening is case 2009-146 Summer Street. On the application of Myra Becker, who's seeking a special permit under 7.0, 7.3, and 7.32 to construct a roof deck and footbridge to an existing non-conforming dwelling at 146 Summer Ave.
So yeah, hi, I'm Miriam. I'm the landscape designer, and I'm working on this project for the owners of 146 Summer Ave. Should I start, or is there something else you guys need to say first?
Go right ahead. Tell us about the application.
Sure. So there's actually a precedence for this roof deck on the garage. It was previously a roof deck, and there was also a footbridge that went from the back porch to the garage roof. It's no longer there, but it was once there. We have some photos of that we can pull up. So for this application, we already went through the process of getting approval from the Historic District Commission. So all of the above abutters have been notified now twice about the proposed work and what might be and what is entailed in that. So the deck itself will be made out of AZEC composite wood, and the balusters will be made of polyurethane, high density polyurethane for longevity and continued looking good for the long term. So the reason why we're here is because the garage is existing legally non-conforming on the side setback, but we are not proposing to extend beyond the extents of the garage as it currently exists. So in that way, we're not encroaching on the setbacks at all.
Great, thank you. Glenn, do you have anything you'd like to add about this application?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. This is the first time I'm looking at it. So
Okay.
the application is to connect a what? A foot?
Yes, so there's an existing back porch on the back right corner of the house. Where the mouse is there, and there's an existing porch there that's about the same height as the top of the garage because there's a grade difference. So we just want to build a flat footbridge that goes from the back porch across. It's about 9.5 feet to the garage.
You want it? All right. So my first concern is this is a plot plan dated 2005.
Yes.
It should be a current plot plan.
Okay.
It should be a current plot plan, number one. Okay. Number two, you're connecting this existing house to a detached garage.
So legally, based on the zoning laws, it's within 10 feet. So they're technically considered the same structure. The garage is considered part of the house because it's within 10 feet of the house.
So the application is for a special permit?
Yes.
I think if we're connecting the house to the garage, we need a variance now, not a special permit.
So the single family dwelling, the house and garage are considered to be, the garage is considered to be attached to the house based on section 5.1.1.1D. So they're technically already connected. So we're just altering the function of it based on, that 7.3.2, that it won't be increasingly detrimental to the neighborhood.
Well, it'd be my opinion that when you connect a detached structure to the house, it becomes part of the house and has to meet the current setbacks. And that can't happen with this proposal. So it's my opinion, you need a variance for this, not a special permit.
Okay, we were told that it would be a special permit, not the variance.
Well, I do agree that a current plot plan should be provided to show what is being done, but you're not proposing to extend past.
No, not at all. There are drawings of what is proposed. So that's the plan view looking from the top. You can see on the bottom right corner, that's where the existing, that's where the existing bridge is. There would be a few steps up to the bridge itself, and then it would be a straight walk onto the garage.
So we're making a connection between the house and the garage. So we're connecting the two.
But
so
but legally they are already considered attached because the garage is within the 10 feet. So they're legally attached.
That is correct.
Well,
go back to.
I have two problems, right? One, I have the old plot plan. Two, you're not showing the connection on the plot plan. And I disagree. In my opinion, you definitely need a variance. So.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. So I'd like to hear further from the rest of the applicants, but based on my reading of that section, I tend to right now at least agree with Andrew. I mean, it's within 10 feet. I mean, there's basically an invisible anchor there. And all this is doing is making a physical connection. So I it's looking like to me this would be a special permit. But I do have concerns with the plot plan. I'm not sure if this is a complete plot plan, if something was cut out. It looks to be cut off. And it is
there is another one I can show you.
You have that?
If you would like to share your screen. So,
I can show you. Hang on just one second. Let me pull it up.
did you have any comments, Bob?
Yes, Andrew. I would agree with Glenn. I thought the same thing, that the plot plan submitted was an old plot plan. I believe that was prepared. Correct me if I'm wrong, the applicant correct me, but I believe it looked like it was prepared when that whole parcel was subdivided. And then they built a house to the, what would it be, the southerly side of that existing structure we're talking about now. And that property was subdivided back in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I would believe a current plot plan is necessary, showing what the proposed work is to be, and the plot plan should be prepared in regards to the current work that they're proposing there. So, you know, we have, and I know our former building inspector wrote the letter, Mark DePel, and I believe he was correct. My understanding, I'm on Nick's side on this one in regards to a special permit. It is kind of a special situation in this case, I guess you could say, in that the garage is within 10 feet of the house, and then according to section 5.5.11 of the bylaw, it is considered, in regards to zoning, part of the principal structure of the house. And consequently, then it can be expanded upon via section 7.3.2, I believe, on that.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. But I do think we need a current plot plan prepared. Thank you.
Sure. If you, let me just pull this up.
Yeah, I just sent you a message. Could you shoot me that plot plan in an
Yeah,
email?
sure. I thought it was already in the application, but I will definitely send it to you again.
Great. All right. Thank you, Bob. I also echo what you have to say. I think a current certified plot plan that showed the existing conditions overlaid with the proposed additions would be very helpful, especially in writing the decision, because it's hard to say as depicted on the plot plan when the plot plan is inadequate. So Hillary, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, I drove by this and stopped for a bit today and took a look. And is there, and now I have it pulled up on Google Earth, and is there not a existing like breezeway where you're putting that bridge, or is that not there anymore? It was hard to...
It does, right. In the Google Earth, the breezeway is still there. It's not currently there now.
Okay.
By breezeway, you mean like the little, the bridge
little
that
roof.
went between them. Yeah, no longer existing. But it wasn't just a roof. There was at one point an actual bridge that went from the existing porch to the garage.
Yeah, I was looking for my son. He has like a history of Reading where this house comes into play, and I was trying to see, because I remember it from that picture book.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Having further around, but I couldn't find it just now, so it's probably upstairs. So I am echoing what my colleagues say, in that the plot plan is important for the discussion, especially since, you know, it's hard to see exactly what's happening from the existing, what we have in front of us. But I would support a special permit. If it was existing to be rebuilt. pre-existing, not existing anymore.
So
you.
Andrew, I did send you that email
Great.
with the plot plan, but I will just disclose I'm not a licensed engineer myself, but it's based on the plot plan that we had. So it just shows where things are. There's also a hot tub in the backyard that was approved last year or 2 years ago now. So this is from that application that was approved. This plot plan was from that. We
James,
can definitely get a new plot plan though. So that wouldn't be a problem. We would definitely be able to do that.
great, thank you. James, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. One, just for my own edification. You say if it's within 10 feet of the existing house, it is part of the house. But you said it's 10 feet from the porch. Does that?
And also the house.
Oh, it's also 10 feet from the house, not just the porch.
Right.
Okay, that's good. The second thing is when you give us the new plot plan, if you have any pictures of that previous breezeway, I'd like to see those. That would help me.
Sure, I should have that.
And then my third question, if you were just proposing this bridge and we're not proposing the deck on the garage, would you need a variance or a special permit, or could you just do that since it's part of the house anyway?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking anybody who wants to answer.
I'm
Glenn
not
has
sure.
his hand raised, so we'll go to Glenn real quick.
Okay. I'm going to suggest Mark is no longer here. So the new plot plan would require a new permit application, and I will address my letter of denial based on the plot plan that's submitted, and we're going to proceed from there.
Okay, so we would need to resubmit the building permit application?
Well, usually the applicant ends up in front of the zoning board of appeals because they get a letter of denial from the building inspector or the building department. Okay, Mark is no longer here, so I'm in that spot again. So I would review your application with your new plot plan, and then I'll write up my letter of denial the way I feel I see it, and then possibly I still feel it requires a variance. If my decision that a variance is overturned by the zoning board of appeals, fine. That's what they're there for. But if we don't go this route, I will probably deny the permit, when it comes before the building department for a permit. So to save time, I would suggest that you apply for a building permit with the current building inspector, myself, and then I can address the letter of denial the way I see it with the new plot plan.
So Glenn, back to my original question. If the application, this is hypothetical, but if the application was just for this bridge and nothing built on top of the garage, would you deny that? And if so, on what basis?
I would deny it because now the garage is part of the house and it doesn't meet the current setbacks for a dwelling. The dwelling we have to meet the 20-foot rear yard setback. And this plan doesn't meet that. We're what, 5.7 feet?
The garage is, but that breezeway
But the
or that bridge is not.
If we make a bridge from the house to the garage is part of the house.
Well, we're being told it already is.
So can I just clarify with Miriam, this is what you're proposing to do, right?
Well, I guess
it will be slightly less wide than that, but yes.
I don't know that it is. I don't see that being connected with this plot plan. This plot plan doesn't show it's connected.
I agree with you, Glenn. I think we definitely need a new plot plan. I think what you proposed about a new application is one avenue, but I would like to present another option is maybe if the board feels okay with this, we continue it. So we get a new certified plot plan. My concern is if we do a new application, Glenn, the board might still make a finding that it's still under a special permit, and it may actually delay the applicant getting the relief that she's seeking.
So I don't understand. All right. So is somebody saying that the house is connected to the garage?
So because the house and the garage are less than 10 feet away, it's considered an attached garage. I don't think that has any bearing because regardless, you would need a special permit for the proposal, whether it's attached or detached. It doesn't meet rear yard requirement setbacks. But I think I would agree with Nick.
All right. So if the lot shall be considered attached to the principal structure and shall be subject to the dimensional limits and requirements applicable to a principal structure. So if it's attached or less than 10 feet, it's part of the principal structure. You have to maintain the setbacks of the principal structure.
She's not extending the setbacks. She's not going beyond what that current garage setback is. She's just... But I think we should still continue, and if we can get Miriam and you to meet with a new plot plan and get on the same page of a special permit and or variance, that would be probably the best route.
That sounds like a plan. I think my sense is the board is leaning towards being okay with this. It's just the application is incomplete via the plot plan being inadequate. And yeah, I definitely think Glenn and you should meet.
Nick, if I could, just another question, hopefully, to expedite the process. Has the applicant or their agent talked to the neighbors about this? Because that garage right now is about 5 or 6 feet from, you said, the side lot line, but I think it's might be considered the back. But anyway, it's only 5 or 6 feet, and right now that garage is a static passive use. The cars drive into it and that's it. But with the roof deck on top, you all of a sudden have a dynamic active use with activity, noise. So has the applicant talked to their neighbors?
So the first thing I would like to say is that the garage is farther back than the house, than the neighbor's house. So they're not like looking into the windows directly or anything like that. I haven't personally talked with the neighbors, but maybe the clients did, yes.
Yeah, so this is Guido Sabatella, I'm the owner of the house. So a couple of points. The bridge was existing, I would say, up until 2007, and there was also a railing already to serve as a decking over the garage. But of course, we had a couple of different points in which we spoke with the neighbors. The first one was when we did the application to the Historic Commission. And we had to send the letters, and there was a public hearing, and of course, nobody was in disagreement, so nobody came. That's the first one. But then again, I spoke with my neighbor more recently, the guy on Glen Road, which is the property exactly on the line, right, where the garage is on that side. And he is okay with it because it was pre-existing, so he doesn't have an issue with it.
Thank you, Guido.
Yes, thank you very much. You said there was a public hearing. Forgive my ignorance, but under what permit or what application was that that public hearing held?
That was for the Historic District Commission, where we got approval actually for this project from the Historic District Commission a couple months ago.
You want to do your face?
Good. Thank you for that. That helps.
Andrew, public comment anyway, right?
Yes, Bob, we will have to open up the public comment.
Right.
Do we want to do that now, Nick?
Hi, can I make a comment as a neighbor?
Yep, Nick, do you want to open up the public comment real quick?
Yes, yes. Let's open up the public comment. Please state your name, address for the record.
Yeah, Jim Caberly, 152 Summer Ave. I just want to refute something that the lady said with regards to neighbors being able to see the rooftop deck. I can see it from my kitchen window. If there was a rooftop or patio deck there, it definitely changes the value of my house and the appeal of my house. You know, I think it's pretty invasive from a privacy standpoint. And I think the other neighbor kind of felt the same way. And maybe they had a conversation with them and maybe they agreed to it. But, you know, in conversations with them, they were kind of upset about it as well. You know, I think the point that the other gentleman raised before about, you know, it going from, you know, a garage that's kind of quiet, you know, cars come in and out of, that's one thing. But you start putting, you know, patios on top of garages and it kind of changes the use of the space. You know, that's kind of our concern.
Thank you for that comment. I may say something about that. That actually brings up a good point. It's a special permit right now because there's no new conformity issues presented. But as James brought up, if this is a change in use going from a more passive to, you know, having people, you know, enjoying themselves on a roof deck so close to the property line, I'm wondering if that creates a new inconformity, you may, and may necessitate a variance. I'll ask that to the board.
Would you like to comment on that, Bob? What your thoughts are?
Yes, Andrew. I thought about this, and I did the same thing when I reviewed this whole application. I thought, you know, it may meet the requirements of the bylaw for a special permit, other than the special permit says if there is a substantial degradation to the neighborhood. And I guess that's going to come down to a point of view for each voting member on the board, whether having a roof deck built upon this existing garage would in fact be a substantial detriment to the neighbors involved and to the neighborhood. And I think that's going to be an individual decision that each board member is going to have to decide on their own in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, so thank you, Bob. So maybe it doesn't rise to the level of variance, but yeah, that is a good question. Yeah.
If this is Jamie again, if I could follow up on what Bob just said, to help me anyway, make that call that Bob just identified. If neighbors do speak up at this continued hearing, that would help me form an opinion as to whether or not it's detrimental to the neighborhood.
Thank you. Do any of the board members have anything they'd like to add? Okay, are there any more additional comments from the public? No, it's all right. So we'll close the public hearing section. So I'll leave it up to the applicant. You heard what the board has to say. Do you think you'd like to continue this case to, we'll need a date certain, but.
Yes, I think we would like to continue it, and we'll bring the updated plot plan at that time to discuss this further.
Okay.
Great.
Andrew, do you have a calendar for when the next available meeting might be?
Yep, it would be August 19th, 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
So I think in the meantime, if you could connect with Glenn and I on a new plot plan and get on the same page as to a special permit, request. Because if it is a variance request, we may have to re-notify. So we want to get on the same page as soon as possible.
Sure. Yeah, we'll get on that first thing tomorrow.
Great. Yes, Bob?
Andrew? Yeah, Bob here. I don't know if you might ask the applicant if August 19th, 2 weeks from today, would be adequate time to get a certified plot plan prepared and submitted to the town and out to the board members on that. Plus, they were going to get together with the building inspector, that Glenn is stepping in now in regards to going over things with him and bringing him up to speed. So it may not be adequate time, 2 weeks to do that.
When would the next meeting?
Or another item I'm looking at is the client or the applicant investigated another area for that deck where it could be built. I mean, it seems to be a substantial amount of property to the north of the existing dwelling there, even attached to the dwelling, and on the north side, that a deck could be built there if they were, adamant about having a outside deck or something. They may want to take a look at that.
May I make a comment on that point?
Go ahead.
So, of course, there is no necessities here. This is a Second Empire home built in 1873, which is on the National Register. The existing garage has probably been built, I would say, by judging structures somewhere in the 60s and the 70s. So it's basically a square box. And its aesthetics don't really go very well with the rest of the house. So the reason why we had it approved by the Historic Commission is that we have chosen a design for the railing, which is the most invasive part from an aesthetic standpoint, which is a replication of the Victorian features. So basically what we're trying to do, like we did with the rest of the property since we added almost 6 years ago now, is try to make it look better. And, so far, all the neighbors that I had the opportunity to speak with were very happy with what we did for the beauty of the road and the way it looks. And this project goes along the same lines. We are just two people, we don't have kids, so the likelihood that the noise that be overwhelming, it's limited to the contrary of other properties around us.
Thank you. Can I ask if there's a date on this plot plan? Do we know what year this is from? Is this current?
That's from 2018.
Okay. So the next available dates are August 19th or September 2nd, whatever you think you can make work. You can continue from to the 19th and then again if required so, or you can just go straight to the 2nd.
Each time that we continue, we will need to send, I'm asking if we will need to send out a notice each time to the abutters.
Nope. The only notification we'll need is if a variance is determined to be required.
Sure. Okay. Okay, so go ahead.
Excuse me, Andrew, while we're talking about dates, I have a problem on both the 19th and the 2nd. Were you able to talk to people in town about changing the date or time of our ZBA meetings?
So I have brought it up, and it's an option that I'm exploring. I need to draft a Thursday schedule, but in the short time, I wouldn't see it happening by the 19th.
I might be able to make the 19th, but I know I cannot make the 2nd.
Okay. So if that's the case, I think I would recommend a continuance to the 19th for now as we sort that out and work together.
I think that the point that was brought up about the 19th being a short amount of time to meet with everyone that we need to meet with, get on the same page, and to get the certified plot plan might be too soon. Therefore, I think we would like to continue it to the 2nd, if that's all right, or whenever the next one might be.
Okay, we'll do the 2nd for now, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, let us know if there's a change.
Jamie, I'll work that out. Do we have a motion?
Can I motion, Andrew, to continue case 2009 146 Summer Avenue until September 2nd?
Sure can. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Hillary. We'll vote. Jamie?
Yes.
Thank you. Nick?
Yeah.
Hillary?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll be in touch, Miriam. Let us know what you need, and we'll let you know what we need, and we'll go to the second.
Okay, thank you all for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Have a good night. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. So, Andrew, do we have any other business to discuss this evening?
Check real quick. I don't believe so.
I do have an administrative question, if I could.
Absolutely.
Does the ZBA ever conduct site visits for these? In some of these cases, like this one in particular, because you really can't see the whole property from the road, that could be helpful for me. Has that ever happened?
It's very rare. I would say on larger projects like a 40B, we've done a site visit, I think. But in terms of these applications, it's usually a drive-by by the board members and check it out personally. But
is there a problem with knocking on the door and asking the applicant if we can view it, if we identify ourselves?
I would leave that up to you. I don't think it violates any open meeting laws. I would be hesitant to talk to them about the application and any comments you have on it at that time, because you don't want to violate anything, but you could ask to go back for sure if you wish.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So we have nothing left on the agenda or to discuss. I do want to say that, as Jamie brought up, I am going to explore Thursday schedule because attendance at zoning board is so vital right now. If the meetings were to go forward just one day, say from September 2nd to 3rd, do Thursdays generally not work for anyone, or are you guys pretty available on Thursdays?
Who knows what's happening, right?
Yeah, so.
September 2nd is fine with me, Andrew. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. So I will explore Thursday schedule and get that drafted out to you guys, hopefully next week. And if you can confirm the dates, at least the short upcoming ones, we'll at least try to make them work. So as we all figure this out together. So
thank you very much for accommodating me. These pandemic times are crazy, and they shifted my course to a Wednesday, and I was caught in the middle. So I appreciate I appreciate you working with me.
We know residents might have issues as well, which is another challenge, as you see with microphones and videos and internet connection and yada yada yada. So we know it's a challenging time. If we can accommodate, we certainly will. But that's it from me. So good to see you all. Thank you for a good meeting.
Bob, I hope next time you're on live.
Just real quick, Jamie will need the decision. We will need a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
So just so we know who's doing decisions, though, Jamie will need one for the withdrawal at 19 Auburn. Hillary will need one for the 23 Temple, and I will send you a template for that that we can work on together.
Thank you.
Andrew, we can get together for the signing.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, we will take a motion to adjourn.
So,
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
and then Hillary seconds.
All right. 4-0-0. You got it.
Great.
Thank you guys, and have a good night. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good job, Nick. Thank you.